It sounds impossible, doesn't it? We're taught from childhood that kindness is the highest virtue, the mark of a good person, the glue that holds humanity together. But what if that very thing, the act of being kind, could slowly drain your spirit, distort your identity, and trap you in a life of silent resentment? Have you ever wondered why the people who seem the most caring often end up the most exhausted? Why the ones who always help, who listen, who show up, are the same ones who secretly feel invisible? This isn't coincidence. It's a pattern, a psychological one, and it's one that few people ever escape. We're going to expose a silent force that may be sabotaging your peace, your happiness, and your potential without you even realizing it. This force is not hate, it's not ego, it's something that hides behind the mask of goodness. It's the habit of giving too much, too often, for too long. It's the dark side of kindness, a slow, invisible trap that convinces you you're doing the right thing, even as it's quietly consuming you from the inside. And the worst part? Most people never break free from it. But you will. Because by the end of this story, you'll not only understand how kindness can turn toxic, you'll discover the most powerful way to reclaim it. To give without losing yourself, to love without emptying your soul. It starts simply. You help people because you care. You want to make others happy, ease their pain, lighten their burden. You believe that kindness makes the world better, and it does. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. You start saying yes when you mean no. You apologize for things that weren't your fault. You feel responsible for fixing everyone else's problems even when it's slowly breaking you. At first, you don't notice it, because kindness feels good. It gives you purpose. It gives you belonging. But beneath that warmth, something darker grows, a quiet exhaustion, a fatigue that no amount of rest seems to fix. You start to feel unseen, unappreciated, maybe even used. You tell yourself you're just tired, that it's temporary. But deep down, you know something isn't right. You've built your life around taking care of others, and somewhere in the process you forgot to take care of yourself. Psychologists call this pathological altruism, when doing good starts doing harm. It's kindness that crosses a line, transforming from a choice into a compulsion. You're not being kind because you want to be, you're being kind because you're afraid not to be. Afraid of conflict, afraid of rejection, afraid of being seen as selfish. But that fear didn't come from nowhere. It started long before adulthood, in childhood, when you learned the unspoken rules of love. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where affection followed obedience, where peace only existed if you stayed quiet. You learned that being good meant being agreeable, that being loved meant being useful, that kindness was the price of acceptance. And when those lessons follow you into adulthood, they shape everything: your relationships, your work, even your sense of identity. You become the one everyone can rely on but no one really sees. You're surrounded by people, yet you feel alone. You help others heal, but you don't know how to heal yourself. It's a cruel paradox. Society praises the selfless. You're told to be humble, to give, to forgive, to always put others first. But what happens when that selflessness turns into self-erasure? When your compassion becomes the very thing that breaks you? That's when kindness loses its purity. Because kindness without boundaries isn't love, it's submission. You see, every act of kindness carries a hidden cost. The more you give without limits, the more invisible you become. The more you accommodate, the more people expect. The more you forgive, the less they value your forgiveness. It's not that people are cruel, it's that they adapt. They get used to your generosity until your effort feels ordinary and your sacrifice becomes background noise. The friend who always listens stops being asked how they're doing. The coworker who always helps becomes the one everyone takes for granted. The partner who always forgives becomes the one who keeps getting hurt. And one day you wake up and realize you've built a world where everyone's needs matter except your own. This isn't weakness, it's wiring. Because your brain is designed for empathy, but empathy has limits. Neuroscientists have found that when you witness someone's pain, the same regions in your brain activate as if you were experiencing it yourself. It's why caring feels so heavy. It's not metaphorical, it's biological. And when that empathy switch never turns off, you eventually experience what's called compassion fatigue. You feel emotionally drained, cynical, maybe even detached. You care deeply, but you can't feel it anymore because your nervous system is overloaded. You've taken on too much pain that isn't yours to carry. But here's the irony. You think something's wrong with you for feeling this way. You call yourself weak for needing space. You apologize for pulling back. You convince yourself that real kindness means giving until it hurts. That's the lie that keeps the cycle alive. Because somewhere along the line, kindness stopped being a gift and became your identity. You don't just do kind things, you are a kind person. It defines you. And when your identity depends on being good, saying no feels like a moral failure. But the truth is, being endlessly kind isn't goodness. It's fear in disguise. It's fear of losing connection, fear of being judged, fear of being unloved. And that fear has a cost. Because kindness given out of fear doesn't heal the world, it quietly destroys you. Over time, you start to notice the emotional consequences. You feel drained, but can't explain why. You start resenting the very people you wanted to help. You begin to feel trapped, like you can't stop being kind, even when it's killing you. And then comes the guilt. The moment you finally say no, or set a boundary, it feels wrong. You feel selfish, ungrateful, like you're betraying someone. That's how deep the conditioning goes, to the point where protecting your peace feels like doing harm. This is the dark side of kindness. It's not evil, it's not malicious, it's tragic, because it turns your greatest strength into your deepest wound. And the world, unknowingly, rewards it. You're called dependable, generous, humble, but no one sees that behind the compliments. There's a quiet cry for balance, for permission to rest, to say no, to stop being strong all the time. The danger of being endlessly kind is that it doesn't just exhaust you, it also attracts the wrong people. People who see your empathy as an opportunity, not a gift. People who take without giving back. People who confuse your kindness for compliance. That's the moment you realize kindness without strength isn't kindness, it's currency. It's how you buy love, peace, or approval in a world that never gives it freely. So how do you break free? How do you stop giving without becoming bitter or cold? It starts with understanding that real kindness has nothing to do with pleasing people and everything to do with integrity. Niceness says, I'll do what makes you happy. Integrity says, I'll do what's right, even if it upsets you. Niceness seeks approval. Integrity seeks alignment. True kindness is born from strength, not fear. It's saying, I care about you, but I will not destroy myself for you. It's helping when you can, and resting when you must. It's forgiving without allowing yourself to be used. It's giving from fullness, not from emptiness. To be truly kind, you have to be whole. And to be whole, you have to have boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. They decide who and what gets access to your energy. Every time you set one, you're teaching others how to love you, and you're teaching yourself that your needs matter too. Because love without boundaries isn't love, it's dependency. Empathy without limits isn't compassion, it's collapse. The greatest kindness you can give to others is a version of yourself that's not running on empty. Because when you're exhausted, your giving becomes tainted with resentment. When you're depleted, your help loses authenticity. The world doesn't need you to give endlessly. It needs you to give honestly. Kindness is not about saying yes to everything, it's about saying yes to the right things for the right reasons. It's not about being agreeable, it's about being real. Because truth without kindness is cruelty, but kindness without truth is delusion. The most powerful people you'll ever meet aren't the ones who never say no. They're the ones whose yes has meaning, whose care has depth, whose love has strength. That's the kind of kindness the world actually needs. Not the kind that burns you out, but the kind that inspires others to rise. But here's the hardest part. Sometimes, kindness becomes your armor. You use it to protect yourself from being hurt. You stay the helper, so you never have to be vulnerable. You fix others so you don't have to fix yourself. You keep everyone at peace, so you never have to confront your own chaos. But kindness as protection isn't real kindness. It's fear dressed as virtue, and it keeps you from real connection. Because when you're always the one giving, no one ever gets the chance to give to you. You start to believe that you're loved for what you do, not for who you are. And that's how you slowly disappear, smiling, supportive, selfless, and silently breaking. If you've ever felt that the exhaustion that comes from being too kind, know this: you're not broken, you're just out of balance. The solution isn't to stop caring. It's to start caring wisely. It's to understand that love and self-respect are not opposites, they're partners. That empathy and boundaries are not enemies, they're equals. Kindness is beautiful when it's conscious, when it's chosen, not compelled, when it's real, not rehearsed, when it's balanced, not boundless. And the moment you start choosing your kindness instead of being consumed by it, everything changes. You begin to attract relationships that feel mutual. You begin to give without resentment. You begin to breathe again. So if you've ever felt like kindness has cost you your peace, remember this: you were never meant to save everyone. You were meant to share your light, not burn yourself to keep others warm. You cannot pour from an empty heart. You cannot heal the world if you refuse to heal yourself. And you cannot truly love others until you learn to love yourself enough to stop bleeding for their approval. Being a good person doesn't mean saying yes all the time. It means having the courage to say no when it matters. It means doing what's right, not what's easy. It means showing kindness without losing your truth. So protect your energy, guard your peace, give freely but wisely. Because true kindness doesn't drain you, it sustains you. It doesn't make you smaller, it makes you whole. And when your kindness comes from strength, not fear from love, not obligation, that's when it becomes unstoppable. So the next time someone calls you too nice, take it as a reminder, not a compliment. Because too nice often means too afraid to be real. Be real, be grounded, be kind, but never at your own expense. Because the world doesn't need your endless niceness. It needs your honest humanity.